You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 439 of East Central's favorite podcast. Jeremiah Morrill here, joined by our executive video producer, audio engineer, Mr. Zach Burcham. Welcome.
Evening.
Man, I'm just looking at our camera, and we're doing the sheriff's episode, and poor Craig Ring's sign is falling down on us already. We're gonna have to fix it. We're gonna quickly repair it. We'll get it in a moment. I don't want anybody being out, getting treated wrong here, Craig. We're gonna make sure your sign is on proper display.
I got a nail out.
It's gonna be, just put a couple deck screws in it, and it'll be permanently up there. I think there's there's Sergeant Jason Williams is over on the refrigerator. He had magnets 4 years ago, so he's been on permanent display for 4 years. So if you leave stuff behind, we'll just stay here. Today's show, we have the four candidates. We got 80% of the Henry County GOP sheriff's candidates here tonight. So we're going to talk with them about their motivations for running for sheriff, what got them into the race, some of the things that have been happening with the department, get their views, and what 4 years under their administration would look like. Betsy Mills is here. She's a county councilwoman emeritus for Henry County.
Sure.
In the co-host chair, and she's going to be helping us along the way. This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you, other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you'll always learn something new. Do want to encourage those that are watching live on Facebook that you can watch us there, subscribe, like the page. Also have a live YouTube feed over there. The YouTube stays up forever. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't want to keep anything on the internet for more than 30 days anymore, so the video disappears. Whatever activities you do over on the live side on the YouTube, that stays around for a while. So if you're trying to come back and find this later, that's where it's going to be. But you can go over to YouTube, hit the like and the bell, and you'll get notified as soon as we go live. Betsy, we just wrapped up about 15 minutes over on the Patreon side. How'd we do?
I think we did okay. I came in with some goodies for our guests. They're a baked delicacy known as donuts. And I've been told that this might be discriminatory against our law enforcement, but I meant it with love, and I've been told they were quite delicious. Gentlemen, thank you for your service, and go donuts. We want to give some quick Patreon thank yous. Or I guess we should talk about Patreon. We talked about the cost of emergency vets being appalling and scary.
Yeah, I guess we didn't really poll the audience as to how much it takes to total an animal. I gave my number.
Total an animal.
Everybody else just kind of
That's
chuckled
some
at
new
me.
jargon. Totaling an animal.
But you can check out the Patreon and catch the rest of the conversation and come to your own conclusions.
But we want to be sure to thank our friend Jonathan Phillips at Ed Martin Honda in Indianapolis, Varsity Outfitters here in town with Blake Grease, Thomas Oaks with Walnut Ridge RV, Moral Monument Cleaning, Pops Recycle, and especially our candidate series sponsors, Wyland Flowers, Incanal, Muncie Farm, and Fleet Repair. And just give a preview of next week. And we're going to have our treasurer candidates.
That's right.
Exciting.
And we're going to be on Monday of next week. We've adjusted ever so slightly, so we're doing a episode Monday of next week. If you join patreon.com/Hog of Liberty at any level, you get the extra content that's over there. $50 or more a month, you get your name right at the top of the episode, and that's why you heard some of those names there. All right, we got all the business out of the way. Let's get to talking to the candidates, get to know them a little bit. We're going to start over here on the left with Craig Ring. You're the first guy. This is the first time in here. The rest of this crew was here 4 years ago.
I see that.
So welcome to the party.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell us about yourself, your background, and what made you jump into the Henry County Sheriff's race.
Well, of course, my name's Craig Ring. I was born right here in Newcastle, Henry County Memorial. I grew up a small farm in Bluntsville, Indiana, between Bluntsville and Los Santville. I went to school at MODOC, which is Union K through 12. I graduated in 1988. Of course, I'm 55 years old, if anybody has to do the math there.
Saved me the effort.
Am I the oldest or youngest or I bet Jim's got a little bit on me.
He don't want to.
He don't want.
No, it's not my turn.
Well, they're all well behaved
I
today.
thought we said never ask a gentleman his age.
That's for the women.
Fort Wayne.
For the women's questions.
Age discrimination.
Yeah, right. But I guess one of the main reasons I jumped into the candidates race is I want to make sure everybody gets the right treatment, whether they be on the wrong side of the law, the right side of the law, or right down the middle. It seems to me, running around in the country doing some campaigning, that everybody has the same questions I have, or the same concerns I have. I think I'm going to leave that statement right there. I don't want to offend anybody in the room, but there's a lot of concerns in our communities that have been brought to attention.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, and we'll get to know you further as the night goes on. Jason Williams, tell us about yourself, your motivation for running. Welcome back.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to be back. I appreciate you guys having us on tonight. I didn't know if you guys were going to make room for us, or you saving the best for last, or what exactly you guys were doing here.
Zach was just trying to put it off as long as he possibly could. That was the deal we struck.
Trying to schedule all the candidates. It's like a goat rodeo. So yeah, we're happy to have you anytime.
We appreciate being here. As he said, my name is Jason Williams, 21-year veteran of the Sheriff's Department. I spent my whole entire career with the Sheriff's Department, a captain in investigations. I grew up in Delville, graduated from Delville High School, go Broncos, and went to Ball State. Went to the police academy, graduated in 2005 as I started my police career, and been with the Sheriff's Department since, through the extensive experience in a lot of different areas. I've been very fortunate to have been promoted ranks, and SWAT team, K9, what have you. But yeah, and it's been fun. As far as motivation,
Yeah,
for me, I think the biggest thing is we need to improve the public perception of the Sheriff's Department. Internally, we've got really, really good guys. We've got young guys, really young guys. But externally, out in the public, I think that's where the biggest improvement for us needs to happen.
All right. Very good. Jim Nicholson, welcome back. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Tell us
having us.
about yourself and motivations for running for sheriff this time.
Okay. I'm Jim Nicholson. I guess I am the oldest in the room, 59 years of age.
There it is.
Almost 59 in a month.
Knew we'd get that out of it.
Lifelong Henry County resident. Graduated from, grew up in Newcastle, attended Newcastle schools, graduated in 1985, and then went off to college. In 1987, I graduated from Vincennes University with a law enforcement degree. Excuse me. Growing up, during my teenage years, when I was 14 years of age, at age 14, I had been nominated and voted into the Sheriff's Explorer post, and spent time up there as a teenager, and then also returned during my college internship and served my internship with the Sheriff's Department in the jail and on the road. And then I was hired my second year in college. I was the weekend dispatcher at Knightstown Police and Fire Departments. And then upon graduating from Vincennes, I went to work with the Indiana State Police as a dispatcher at the Pendleton Post. And then in 1990, I was hired and appointed as the Newcastle Patrolman. And I've spent 36 years. Over those 36 years, I've served in each merit rank from sergeant, lieutenant, captain, deputy chief, and then chief of police for 8 years. I was, in 2012, I returned to my permanent rank of captain, and I serve as the commander of the road and patrol division.
All right. Very good. John Sproles.
Yes, well, thank you. I want to start this off with an apology, actually, to Captain Jim. At the first forum at the library, I made a comment that I didn't feel good about. It was just unprofessional, and I tell our guys, look, if you do something you shouldn't or say something, just own it. So, Captain, I want to tell you I'm sorry. So,
Thank you.
we'll start with that. So, my history. I was born in Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. And we moved up here 42 years ago. My dad and mom moved up here to pastor a church. And I've been married for over 31 years. I have 4 beautiful children, ages 28 to 14. And one brother, 2 sisters. My brother obviously is the Sproles at the funeral home, who has served families here in Henry County for 37 years, I believe, in the funeral business. So I was sworn in as a reserve deputy on my 21st birthday, 30 years ago, a little over 30 years ago. And so that would put me at 51. And I did that for a couple of years, and I was busy building churches. So I got out of that for a long time, built nearly 100 churches all over the state and other states, and many houses and other buildings, built the funeral home, actually. And then I got back in the reserves in 2016, and I got hired on full-time in 2019. So I've been on full-time at the sheriff's office for a little over 7 years. And my motivation for running the first time was when I came back to the sheriff's office, it was crystal clear that the sheriff's department was just a broken system. And our equipment was terrible. I said this the last time 4 years ago here, I couldn't even get a printer for my car. I think it's like 8 months before they finally found the money to get me a printer or got a used one or something that worked. I mean, you can't even function. You can't print items off that you need. And I just realized this system is broken. And I felt like that being as I had been in private sector and business for years, we needed a business mind. Because there's just something broken with the finances, with the not providing the guys the proper equipment. We were understaffed, always understaffed, and so that's why I thought I think I should run for sheriff, because I think I can put some business practices in place that would help the department out.
All right. So you are currently serving as sheriff. So this question, everybody's gonna get the same questions tonight. So this question is a little bit different for you, but the question is, what operational changes would you want to make in the department, I guess, for your next 4-year term if you're elected? And mostly on the road operations side is where we're going here. So number of deputies, the way officers are supervised, your brass structure. We'll start with that.
Well, we have accomplished really all of the things that we set out to do for our first term. As I said, we were severely short-staffed, especially in the jail, like 8 full-time jail officers, understaffed. We was understaffed on the road. So specifically referring to what we want to do in the future, we want to keep doing what we're doing. We are fully staffed. We have a deep waiting list of top-notch candidates. And so
do you mean as a deputy or like working in the jail?
Deputies.
That's
yes.
outstanding.
Yes. So we're fully staffed at 28 merit deputies. Merit deputies, that's maybe a lot of people don't understand that term. That is a full-time deputy. You're hired based on your merit. So that's where the term merit deputy comes in. As far as the amount of officers, I have said from 4 years ago, I feel like that we need 30 merit deputies. We actually used to have 29, And somewhere back, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, they cut one of those positions out. And so we only have 28. I feel like we need 30. Over time, I would like to see us get up to that. But I think the main thing that I want to continue doing is taking good care of our officers, which we have done. And this is the first time in, I think, the history of Henry County Sheriff's Office that our officers are finally paid what we call average pay. There is a company called WIS, Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy that, well, you would know well, Betsy. I think they've done work for us for like 26 years. They combine all data from agencies that are similar to ours, and they will say, you know, this is what the average pay should be. And for years, the officers were just severely underpaid, and we fought for fair pay. We were fighting for, we just want to be average. We weren't fighting for above average, but that's a big accomplishment. And we have reached that. I want to continue. We better continue at average.
All right.
It's really like, and that service is great, especially for county council.
Yes. Yes.
You know, do we encourage hiring this person at $40,000 or $120,000? Like,
Yeah.
we're not subject matter experts on this specific
Right.
thing.
And they are.
So we go to the experts,
Mhm.
and as you mentioned,
And they
They
do
are
a good,
quite helpful.
they do a good job because I double check. I call all the agencies
Sure.
and say, hey, and their numbers are spot on.
sure, and they compare not only like size counties in terms
Mhm.
of population,
Mhm.
but just, you know, it'd be idiotic to compare us to Indianapolis.
Right.
Like, we
Right.
have so little in common.
Right.
But you know, the other counties that are approximately 50,000
Mhm.
of population, well, that makes a lot more sense to
Right.
compare.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just
Yep.
wanted to explain that a
Yes.
little bit.
Yes.
All right. Let's hear from Jim Nicholson on this. You're obviously coming from the outside. You're coming from the city of Newcastle.
Correct.
So you've got the opportunity to have a different set of eyes on this department. What operational changes would you want to make for it on the rotor operations side? The number of deputies, brass structure, supervision of officers. We'll start there and go on.
Actually, the operational with the supervisors, it's basically set up like we are at the city, and the amount of, it would be nice to have more road deputies, and but the speaking from years past with budget cuts and the Senate Bill 1 that I went through in 2004, and all of us did. It's the same with the county, and they had to, I guess, recuperate over the last few years. Betsy would know that from the past Senate Bill 1s, and now we're going back into, or we're actually into Senate Bill 1 now with the property tax caps. So really, there's nothing really to change on the organizational leadership other than to have deputies out patrolling in the county. So, and I'd like to see an increase in our reserve corps and also a volunteer community service officers.
What would that mean?
Well, you've seen in a lot of southern states where we would have, they would have to be sworn in as reserves just so they would be protected, but they wouldn't have arrest powers. And we would have like public safety officers out that could take minor incident reports, that would also be out on patrol, sort of a neighborhood watch, but on patrol in a marked sheriff's car. It would be properly marked with public safety on it. It's kind of like what we did years ago with Vaughn Reed, Junior Reed here in Newcastle, except I would like to expand and have additional officers. And we can have those officers on traffic control for major incidents, and then also out patrolling neighborhoods in the county or in the country roads just for visibility. So
Places that don't necessarily see a lot.
correct.
All right. Very good.
Wait, are you saying county roads have speed limits?
No, I'm not talking about for speed, but I'm talking about if there's a high crime rate area. I know the county used to suffer a lot from daytime burglaries, and it would just be nice to have that extra visibility out for protection. So
Well, you're right. And just real quick, our county council, and we have argued or debated with our sheriff's department about take-home vehicles. The county council has always thought, and you guys have always made the argument, and your predecessors, it feels a little bit safer when you see the sheriff's department car in the driveway when you're driving by wherever in neighborhoods. It tends to deter crimes. So.
well, and that's one of the first things I did when I became
Right.
chief of police in 04. We started the take home program, and that was putting officers. At that time, we had detectives with unmarked vehicles and administrators with unmarked vehicles, and we had 3 canine officers, and they were the only ones with marked cars, and in the neighborhoods. Well, we progressed over that next year with supervisors getting the cars, and then officers with 5 years or more. And then by the time 8 years was up, we had every officer was getting a car. Now they wouldn't get their car until they graduated from the law enforcement academy. So, and that's one thing I've already been asked. Do you believe in giving the cars right away? No. So.
Very good. And that's one of the things that Henry County uses now is take home versus something to attract
Yes.
folks or be more competitive, right?
It's certainly an incentive. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Jason Williams, tell me, obviously you're a captain inside of the sheriff's department now. So you've got the opportunity to see it from the inside. Changes you want to make in the department, specifically around the road operation side of this one.
Yeah, as far as the road operations side, the brass structure, the way we're set up with the 12-hour shifts, it works out well because we have a sergeant and a corporal on each bracket. So if the sergeant's off, obviously we have an OIC that has rank covering for them, which is important. And a lot of times, if the citizen has an issue or something to say and they want an OIC, they want somebody, they want to talk to somebody that has rank. So that helps. And I think our road structure's set up okay. I don't have a problem with that at all. I would like to add at least one deputy back. I would like to get back to our 29 that we had for years. When I first started, we had 29. I was 3329. And back then I was on the grant from the federal government that lasted, I think it was 18 months or something. Jim he was on back then too. Everybody had a grant position.
Usually it was 36 months.
Yeah. And then after that 36 months, then the department had to pick up that officer. So I would like to at least get back to the 29. I would love to have 30. I would love to pick up 2 if we can. I'm never gonna not push for more guys on the street and more
resources.
Yeah, more resources for sure.
All right. Craig Ring, how you doing down there? This is the snake draft style of this thing. But you get questions back to back, so now you get to dominate.
Well, at least
for
I
a
got
while.
to hear everybody's first. But I'm the guy, on the outside looking in. So a lot of it you guys are talking about is Greek to me. But I know growing up where I grew up, Stony Creek Township, we have Randolph County. The Randolph County line runs 500 feet behind my house. And then you can go a quarter of a mile to the north and run into Delaware County. So growing up as a kid, or any kid for that matter now, we don't see a county sheriff's car. We'll see more of a Randolph County sheriff than we will a Henry County sheriff. And unfortunately, they don't come across the county line, even though it's 500 feet. I like the idea, and I've always thought we need more patrolling in our area, especially the small towns that do not have part-time town marshals, or some of our town marshals have been eliminated from and then some of them's not even been replaced that's passed away or decided that they didn't want to deal with it anymore. But anyway, I'm more looking towards the public. What are we going to do for them, and not the sheriff's department? The sheriff's department's getting everything they need from what it sounds like. My tax dollars say they are. So that's just that's how I look at it. We need more protection for our public. The drugs run rampant where I'm at. You know, I got to watch the windmills, the wind towers come in. I was in the bottom of all 48 wind towers. And when those wind towers came through the piles of money, the piles of drugs, and unfortunately the piles of money left, but the drugs never did. So now we have to deal with mostly, if you will, meth heads. I'm just going to say it the way it is. Call a duck if it quacks. But now we got to worry about defending our homes and our property at no matter what means we have to, because that's what we're allowed to do by our constitutional rights. But I'd like to see more patrolmen in our area. I mean, we pay just as many tax dollars as a guy in Newcastle does.
Craig, I have a couple of follow-ups. First of all, I apologize for the sunglasses. We got really good lighting in the studio, and
It's blind.
my eyes are very sensitive. So I'm not trying to look like a rock star here. I look silly, I know, but
She gets on this TV show and gets pretentious on me every time.
Just to clarify, and I apologize for my ignorance. Do you have specific law enforcement experience prior to now?
I do not.
Okay. So, but you've got like fresh eyes.
I got I'm from there.
Sure,
I've seen it happen.
Sure.
I've watched it happen.
Yeah. And you mentioned
I've had it happen to family members and friends. I know what it's like.
Sure. And I want to clarify, you mentioned Randolph County and you mentioned the windmills. You also mentioned drugs. I want to connect these just to make sure I understand. Are you saying that with the huge amount of money that came in with the wind turbines in Randolph County, are you also saying there came in drugs or desire for drugs or money to purchase drugs? Can you clarify that point for us?
I'm going to say about all the above.
Okay.
You didn't notice it much. You did notice it.
I don't know anything about it.
You didn't
Yeah.
notice it much before the wind towers.
Okay.
But during and after,
Sure.
it's really showed its face.
That's really, I would never have made that connection, but that's kind of shocking. Another good reason maybe not to have wind in Henry County. Sorry. Got to put my plug in.
I always said I got.
All right, Betsy,
I always said I got to watch them go up, and I sure hope I get to watch them come down.
That's right.
They will over time, piece
Yeah.
by piece.
They already are.
All right. So, Craig, the next one is a question that stems from a lawsuit, and a lot of folks have pointed at this for some of the county's insurance woes. And it's the question of a pursuit. We had a Henry County deputy that pursued somebody up into Delaware County, and it led to a fatal crash because somebody ran away, and there was a fatal crash on a McGalliard. In your view, what's an appropriate police pursuit for the sheriff's department? We'll go there and we'll go around the room for it.
Each individual, I said, needs to think ahead. I mean, I heard speeds on that particular one you're talking about of over 100 mile an hour through town. That's just hearsay on the street. That's entirely too fast, especially in Ball State area. A lot of traffic, a lot of pedestrians. And then I can give you another, for instance, here. It's just been Mr. Sproles, John can probably tell you a little better timeline than I. We had an abandoned house just down the road from where I live, as a matter of fact. And the chase started right there. It's a junction of State Road 35 and 875 East. And when I was standing in my driveway when I seen the first vehicle flash by, and I really wasn't sure what it was. But when the second two come back, I knew exactly what they was because the sirens was blaring. And I'm not sure how fast they were going, but I live in a very well-constructed home, 2x6 walls, Anderson windows. And when the two sheriff's cars came past my house, it literally felt like they was trying to suck the windows right out of the house. They were moving so fast.
If they'd been
And I
fellas, they
thought,
would have gone right through.
My road's only exactly. My road's only 3/4 of a mile long. And I thought, maybe it was a little excessive. I wasn't in the situation for it. So but I guess common sense plays a lot. If we don't have common sense running through high trafficked areas, or maybe we shouldn't be in a cruiser, or maybe we should have some more training.
So if I could comment on that, that pursuit he's referencing there, make a couple comments. Common sense, it's actually due regard is what is the main thing in really all that we do, but pursuits. But that pursuit that you were referencing, that ended up taking a very serious violent felon off of the street. He had been wanted, had warrants for ages, and very serious violent criminal acts. So that led to his arrest the next day. It was a stolen vehicle. And so, you know, I want to speak to the 100 mile per hour that you said you heard. Captain Williams will attest to this because we've heard all of the radio traffic from that. The only time that 100 miles an hour was mentioned was literally, I think, a half a second before the crash happened. So it wasn't like they were going 100 miles an hour through town. We heard 90 miles an hour on State Road 3. You can go up there and run radar and catch pedestrians doing 90, 95 on State Road 3. So
Those are quick pedestrians.
yeah. So, well, pedestrians, not pedestrians, people in their vehicle.
Civilians.
Drivers. Yes, drivers.
Maybe the sheriff
That
riding
is
his bike.
fast. He would want to talk to them because
They
he's
win
the
the mini
track
marathon.
coach. Yes, he's the track coach. So, you know, it's easy to armchair quarterback these things. And, you know, we have to, I say this a lot, but I can't say it enough. We have to deal with facts over feelings. You know, there are people who probably, well, I know this in some cases, there are places that you can't carry your rifle exposed in your vehicle because it's intimidating looking. I think Ball State campus recently removed the rifles from their vehicles. They have to keep them in the trunk. There's people that are sensitive to really everything. So, you know, there's nobody hates it worse than obviously families that are affected. And me, I hate when a situation turns out bad, but you can't always, like I said, it's easy to armchair quarterback. That pursuit was investigated by the state police and the Delaware County prosecutor. No wrong done. So again, I hate it. I hate that it turned out that way. But you know, I am not going to get into a flat no pursuit policy. There is too much data out there where departments have done that. I was watching, I think, like Los Angeles, a county there, they had made them go to a no pursuit policy. Crime went out the roof. And they said, we cannot, because people they knew you're not going to pursue. So they're not going to stop. So it's complex. And again, due regard is the main thing. And those situations, they are rapidly changing. So a pursuit may be okay for a while, and then you need to call it off. I will never, you know, we keep talking about this one pursuit. I am not going to say that my deputy did something that he shouldn't, because he didn't. And again, state police investigated it. Prosecutor's office said, yeah, there's no wrong done. Yeah, I hate that it turned out that way. But here's what I want to say. That the reason that pursuit was happening is because the guy in the driver's seat kept putting his foot on the gas. Those were violent felons that had guns on them that shouldn't have. They probably shouldn't have been out on the street. But here's another thing. I've talked to insurance agencies about this. You can get sued. This insurance company gave me several examples where law enforcement agencies are getting sued because they started pursuing a vehicle and they terminate it. And 15 minutes later, that vehicle, because they're drunk or whatever, hits and kills a family. And then they found out, wait a second, that department started pursuing them. They should have got them stopped. So we're going to go sue that department for not pursuing them. So it's lawsuits. You're going to get them.
Sounds like you're saying there's a lot of nuance here.
There is a
It's
lot of nuance there.
complicated.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's complicated. Yes.
All right, we got a little out of order. Jason Williams,
Yeah.
your opportunity on the pursuit question.
Well, I will tell you, I am our department EVOC instructor. And obviously with that, because, there comes a great deal of liability in that. And we knew that going in. And, I knew that going into the training to become an instructor in that specialty. But it's something I enjoy. But in regards to the pursuits, sometimes pursuits are necessary.
Mhm.
You have to get violent people off the street. You have to. Now, is 100% of the pursuits that we get into deemed absolutely 100% necessary? Maybe not. But sometimes you have to get violent people off the street. And as the sheriff said, the concept that we teach, the concept I teach, the concept they teach us at the academy is to drive with due regard. It's almost like the totality of the circumstance. If the totality of the circumstance of this pursuit means that, if the reward does not outweigh the risk, you better terminate it, or bad things are going to happen for you, for the department, for the sheriff, for the commissioners, for everybody involved. But I will tell you,
Is there any
there's
any
a fine
concern?
line. There's a fine line between pursuing somebody and terminating. But a lot of times, and you're talking to somebody that's, I've been to Ohio 3 times in pursuits. I've been on the west side of Indianapolis on 465 in a pursuit. I've been downtown Indianapolis on a pursuit. Now, these were back when I had a canine, and a couple of the people, they didn't want to stop. And then when they found out I had a dog, then they didn't want to get out of the car. They did, but they didn't want to. Now back then I was on night shift, so that automatically throws a different wrench into things. If you are a day shifter and it's 9 o'clock in the morning and you're on 465 in Indianapolis, here it would be like State Road 3. If you're going through the construction zone, or if you're out on 70, there's differences. Like you said, there's different nuances for everything that we do. And we're going to be Monday morning quarterbacked on everything, no matter if it turns out right for us, no matter if it turns out wrong for us. But, I would never say absolutely no pursuits at all, because sometimes, it's necessary. But I think we can have maybe a little tighter restriction on some than what we do now.
There's hundreds of people watching the show today, and a lot of them are referencing, hey, you guys left the county, or that they left the county. You mentioned that you've gone into Ohio,
Yep.
Marion County.
Yep.
That's standard protocol in these things to find yourself
in that
traveling.
situation. Yes, the last one I went to Ohio was a stolen U-Haul, and it went to Union City, Ohio, where the road tees. And by that time, I was the lead pursuit car through Henry County, through Randolph County, through, I believe it's Darke County, Indiana.
Ohio.
Yeah.
And then it goes into Darke County, Ohio. And then they picked it up. But he was by himself. So it was just myself and Sergeant Burns, or we were the 3 guys. I'm not going to leave a pursuing officer by himself. I had spoken to the major at the time, Jay Davis. He knew where we were. Actually, he actually followed the pursuit on our GPS systems in our car. So, and not only was it a stolen U-Haul, but he also had a female in the vehicle that, I'm not going to say it was a hostage situation, but he wasn't letting her out, and took her from Anderson. That's where the pursuit initiated. So sometimes it's necessary.
Very good. All right, Jim Nicholson. Sometimes we end up at the end of the line here. Tell me about your views on pursuits, and I don't know how much
What
that
was the
happens in the
exact
city.
question? I mean, I know what
Yeah,
it was, but I
Right.
hear
Yeah.
it framed and
This as it started is when is a pursuit appropriate, and we were referencing the one that has led to the lawsuit, and a lot of the council members have said this is why we're in a difficult financial situation with county insurance.
right. Well, who in here doesn't like to drive fast or hasn't liked to drive fast? Listeners out there, you know, when we become police officers and we go through training, whether it's pre-basic, back in my day, we didn't have pre-basic, but we still had local in-service trainings. And then when you go to the academy, we spend 30 some hours in EVOC, that's emergency vehicle operation course. And
It's 40 now, Jim.
40. Okay. Well, it was 36 or something like that, but it's 36 years ago. Okay. But we, as a police officer, you get involved in these pursuits, and you have to use due care. They reinforce that. They reinforced that 36 years ago. But you know, there has to be some oversight too with management, with supervision, and you know, your lead car, your driver, your police officer in the front is usually leading the pursuit, and you have a car or two that will call the pursuit. Sometimes you don't have, you know, someone behind you, but you know, there needs to be proper monitoring, proper supervision, and you know, I don't want to get into the details on that particular pursuit. I've been involved in plenty myself. I've been out of the county, been to Richmond on a lengthy pursuit, but a lot of it has to deal with identifying, if you can identify that person, or you know, you have to risk the safety. You have to look around the environment. Is there heavy traffic, moderate traffic, low traffic? You know, you don't want to go 100 miles per hour down a city street here in Newcastle, but you know, State Road 3, I-70, US 40, US 36. You know, we get our speeds up. We've you know, but you have to have proper monitoring from either an officer in charge or a supervisor. And, you know, there again, you have a young deputy who's 22, 23 years old, hasn't been to the academy yet. He's on his way home, and I don't blame him. I don't blame the deputy. But someone should have terminated the pursuit for safety reasons. Number one, he wasn't getting any backup from anyone in Delaware County or anyone in Muncie. And he was on his own on streets he didn't know. And I just think that he shouldn't have been placed in that situation.
Yeah, I want to.
So, but you know, I don't want a Monday morning quarterback either. So,
Well,
and that's, you know,
Yeah.
You know, that goes back to what
that's
I,
something, I mean, that's,
that goes
none
back
of us
to what
want
I
to do that.
Yeah, that's
So,
what it goes back to what I said a while ago. It's the totality of the circumstance.
Right.
If it needs to be called off, we need to have people in charge that are okay with you know.
but you
calling it
don't even need
Yeah,
a
but
supervisor.
Right.
You can
It can
have
be
a
the
senior
lowest
officer
guy.
that can,
off. It can be the lowest
Lowest guy.
department.
correct.
If the situation dictates that.
So I want a couple things I want to say here. We do that pursuit was monitored. Again, we heard 90 miles an hour on State Road 3 at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, do 140 on State Road 3 and probably be relatively safe. That sounds kind of funky, but so a couple things I want to say here though. Him not having been to the academy, I have heard that so much. That is not a state requirement to have been to the academy, and I know you know
You're right.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's looking back, it's easy to say it should have been terminated because of the end result. Had they pulled over and got stop stick, we'd have never said, well, they should have called that off. We have called pursuits off. You guys have called pursuits off. And so and back to the issue about, this is costing, I hate it, but it's a part of doing business. It's just part of it. You're going to have lawsuits. You're going to have tort notices. And here, I want to point this out. We've had multiple pursuits prior to me being the sheriff. I'm thinking of 2 motorcycle pursuits where our officers, I wasn't involved, ran them right into their death. One of them, we knew who they were. They had a warrant. They're a local. But I didn't hear the kickback that anything that since I've been the sheriff, oh Lord, anything that happens, man. Again, this guy, we just chase him until he runs into a tree and kills himself on a motorcycle. We chase somebody up into Greenfield on a motorcycle until they kill themselves. And did you hear this kind of outrage about it? No. So there is a reason why, we're just going to make a big deal about John Sproles this, John Sproles that. This was not the case in prior administrations. I think I know why, because they were all, I don't want to use a bad term. They're all buddies, all the council and the commissioners and the sheriff, everybody, they're all together. I'm just not that guy, and I'm not going to be that guy. And there are council people that don't like me, and there are commissioners that don't like me. Obviously, I took their badges, and that's been a problem. But there's a lot of just, this is a thought out thing of let's just say that Sproles is making us go broke, because let's just get real here. They're going to come to raise your taxes. They need somebody to blame. So
you've done a great job of transitioning us into my next set of questions.
Thank you.
Talking about different departments and how in the interaction with other county organizations or other municipalities, how do you want the sheriff's department to interact with state police, town marshals, city of Newcastle, all of those other law enforcement, conservation, DNR, all of those folks? How should the sheriff's department be interacting with those entities?
Just exactly the way we are now. We have a great working relationship with the state police. We have a great working relationship with the city police. The town marshals. I don't want to get going down that road. There's some great town marshals out there, but I think I know we have a great working relationship with these other agencies. And so that we will need to keep doing what we're doing. It does take some work. Believe it or not, it does take some work to keep those relationships. You got all these different personalities, and you can get into department. I'll say this: previous to my administration, we would have officers say, "Hey, we're going to stop and grab a drink. Is the state police there?" Yeah, I ain't coming. I hate that stuff. That is, we're all out here risking our lives together.
You guys might all be called to the same call where you're getting shot at together.
Exactly.
Better be able to have a Coke together
exactly.
too.
Yes. So that is a very important thing. You can get into departmental wars. There's been plenty of examples out there, and that is not a place to be.
All right, Jim Nicholson, same question for you.
Well, I believe we have, ever since I've been on, we've had a great working relationship with the state and with the county, and even some of the town marshals. The state officers, when they used to live here in Henry County, or the troopers were assigned to Henry County, you really got to know them. You knew their families. I know a lot of them now. They're retirees. We hang out, but the county officers, I don't know of anyone that with the county or the state, if we were to go somewhere to grab a bite to eat or hang out at a gas station. I've never had a problem with another officer. Considering some of the town marshals, we have great town marshals, some great town marshals. And I really think some of the marshals that are, as it's been put in the past, bad shopping, we do have that. But that's something that those town boards are going to have to, the town councils need to control. If they want to take that liability, I've been asked that.
Yeah. Well,
I've been asked that by
I guess
former police officers.
Some of that is the sharing of resources with those
Correct.
departments.
Correct.
And if you want to use sheriff department resources to support
Right.
those folks.
And we all want to get along and cooperate. Just Newcastle and Henry County, both through the sheriff's department, we've cooperated for a good 40 plus years, and we share a narcotics division with the area drug task force. And I know,
And the SWAT team.
and the SWAT team. Yes, we actually have a combined SWAT team now. And then actually our canine divisions, they train together bi-weekly, and we actually have a good group.
Yeah.
So,
we do.
I mean, it's a team effort. So, none of us, I can guarantee you, none of the present law enforcement officers, I can't speak for Craig, but I'm sure he's going to, if he were to win, he's going to have a number two, and they're going to have to explain to him some of what's going on, but we all function as a team.
All right. Very good. Jason Williams.
Yeah.
Pull that mic in close to you. It'll do you better.
Is that better?
Yep. That's
Okay.
perfect.
So as far as the interaction with the state police or city police, I know from my perspective with the detective division, I have a great working relationship with both those agencies. There's been some times I've been called from officers in Knightstown, Middletown. I've helped them on some things, and I've worked with them. And that's probably the most important relationship you can have as a police officer, is relationships with other agencies and officers with other agencies, because you never know when you're going to need them. So from our perspective, from my perspective, those are invaluable. If elected, I would like to, and like the other guy said, we have some good town marshals. And we have some other ones that, maybe their town boards do need to take a look at and see what they got going on. But that's not a decision for me to make.
That's right.
That's up to the town boards. And as sheriff, Sheriff Sproles he's went down that rabbit hole, and that's up to each individual town. It's a slippery slope, and you almost have to be of the opinion that if these other officers are going to be working and patrolling the streets in your county, you better take some interest in how they're patrolling and how they're enforcing laws in your county. Because if they get into a situation where they need backup and your officers are the ones going to back them up, your officers better be ready for something, maybe more than what they expect. Or maybe the officers in that town maybe aren't enforcing the laws the proper way, or maybe enforcing it the way they interpret the law to be, and it may not be that way. So I want everybody to be on the same playing field and have the same interpretations of the laws that's going on. I think that's important.
All right. Craig Green.
Well, I listen to these guys. I'm learning a lot. Believe it or not, I'm learning a lot. But I listen to these guys, and they talk about the relationship they have with with deputies in our county, with the city police, with the state police. But it seems like they don't have a very good communication, or should I say, with the surrounding counties.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, it sounds like that there's not a very good working relationship with surrounding counties.
You saying with Delaware County or
Delaware County or Randolph County or Rush County.
Let's give an example. I'm very close to
well,
all
because-
those sheriffs.
Okay, well, just sitting here listening to you guys talk. There ain't nobody talking about us around the county. And then we said that there was nobody helping a deputy that was pursuing a high-speed chase into Delaware County, and nobody's there to help him from Delaware County. And I'm uncertain of why something like that would happen.
I would just be clear. I think it's important that we be clear not to speculate on the reasons.
Exactly. So, I guess what I'm saying is maybe if elected as county sheriff, I would reach out to the surrounding counties and try to better the situation, as if you will. I mean, like I said, I don't know the situations. Don't know.
Yeah, well,
none.
I can tell you
I
from
can-
my perspective as a captain, and not to cut you off.
Oh, you're
sir,
right.
But from my perspective as a captain, I'm very familiar with the Randolph County guys.
Okay.
Good friends with one of them in particular I used to work with, who used to be one of our deputies. Rush County, I know the sheriff, know all three guys that are running for sheriff down there. I'm good friends with Tony Skinner in Delaware County.
Okay.
I know Jeff. I don't know the Madison County guys all that well. I know some of the road guys. A lot of them have kind of changed hands. We've got one of them on our list.
Don't get me wrong.
So the working relationship is, I was just going local in county, but
Okay.
from my perspective,
Well, we were
I
just
think our
we were
relationship
talking
with them
about
are
we were
good.
talking about working relationships with the officers that
Correct.
we brought up the state police because they
Yeah.
work in our county.
Well, and then that just kind of clarifies it,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the only one listening here, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify for perspective
So
that,
we
we weren't talking about other counties. We were just talking about state police and
who we commonly work together with. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
clarify.
obviously we have sheriff's association meetings regularly. I meet these guys regularly. I'm very close to all of our surrounding sheriffs and leaders, and again, Captain Williams, he works with all of the different ones. So no, we have a good working relationship, a very good working relationship with all of them.
All right. We'll stay down here with you, Craig, and transition into jail operations. Something we talked about last week with the prosecutor candidates was how we try to minimize, or if there are opportunities to minimize, the head count of folks that aren't quite to sentencing yet in the Henry County detention facility. Do you have any plans or proposals to try to reduce the head count, or how long it takes somebody to get through working with prosecutors, judges, et cetera?
My feeling towards that is that pretty much lays in the prosecutor and the judge's hands. I mean, you can only house them. You can't force the courts to speed their process up. I don't know how to really answer that without being experienced in that operation.
Sure thing. Jason Williams.
Yeah, I think as sheriff, you most certainly can work with the prosecutor and the judges. One of the things that I would welcome as the sheriff would be to work with the prosecutor who's coming in and the judges to maybe get the nonviolent people out of the jail and put them either on home detention, house arrest, whatever you want to call it. Make them pay for that service, number one, and twofold, that would save the taxpayers of Henry County from having to pay for them for their medical, their housing, and things like that in the jail. And I would welcome that opportunity to work with prosecutors to try and get that done.
All right. Jim Nicholson.
I believe in cooperating and teamwork with the prosecutor, the judges, and as incoming new sheriff or the present sheriff, that needs to be done. And also, there's certain rights though that defendants have that they get a lot more continuances in their cases than the state does. So a lot of that, the defense has much more, has a little bit more control of that. But we've heard in the past too, let's stop plea bargaining. So many cases, and let's go to trial. But sometimes you can't go to trial because you don't have a tough enough case. So, or the prosecutor doesn't want to.
So I can speak with 3.5 years of experience on this subject. The Sixth Amendment talks about the right to a fair and speedy trial. Obviously, when I took over as a sheriff, our inmate population was just rising on a very rapid rate. That's why we had to build a new jail. We were sued into building a new jail by the feds because of that, being overpopulated. So that was on the top of my agenda because I heard talk of, well, we just need to build a $10 or $15 million jail addition. And so one of the very first meetings I had, Captain, you was in one of these meetings where we did go over the prosecutor's office and say, hey, we need to have communication here. And I remember saying it just like this, I kind of picture a wheel that you go into the justice system, you get arrested, and that should continue to cycle all the way through the system but it's getting hung up somewhere. And I'm going to give you some real specifics, just straight from experience. I remember having a meeting. We have a lot of meetings with all of your leaders in the county. So we're talking judges, prosecutor. You'll be in a room with all of them. And I'll never forget. I feel like that I kind of led the charge on this, and this will tell you. I'll explain it. I asked a simple question in this meeting, and it was shocking to me because apparently it hadn't been talked about before. So I asked this simple question because all of the decision makers are in this room. I said, why can we not take some of our nonviolent offenders who are waiting on trial and get them out on house release, like, on an ankle monitor? So I asked the head of community corrections who handles all of that. I said, are you maxed out? Do you have, are you full of, you can't take any more? And she says, no, we could take another 25. And in fact, hear this stuff. And in fact, we need to, because the state funds us and they set, this is how much you need to be doing. And if we don't do it, we'll lose our state funding. So, okay, I was shocked at that one. Okay, so we can take 25 out. So, wow. Okay, so I turned to the next decision maker and I said, why are we not doing this? I'm waiting for the reason. I'm sure somebody's going to say, well, you can't do that because of this. And so the next decision maker says, oh, I don't have any problem with it. And then we go to the big decision maker, and you guys can all guess who that is. And he said, oh, I don't have any problem with it. And I was stunned.
I assume it's Joe Wiley.
It's Joe Wiley. Joe Wiley. And so I was kind of stunned. I said, so how do we do this? And the one person said, well, I need to go through the list and assess who I'm okay with letting out on home detention. And the next decision maker said, oh, I'll just need to review that list and make sure I'm good with it. And then the big decision maker, Joe Wiley. No, it's not Joe.
We don't need to speak in vagaries.
Yes,
Okay?
yes.
This is the time. If we got people to say or things to point at,
so
say it.
So the big decision maker says, I said, well, what do you need? He said, well, just have him shoot me an email of the list and I'll approve it. And guess what happened?
It changed.
They went through the list. I asked a decision maker, when can you review this list? Oh, I could probably do it today. Okay, good. So the next day we get it. And about 3 days later, community corrections comes over to the jail and takes 17 people out of there. 17. That's almost an entire pod.
What's it cost to have somebody for a day?
So
$35, $40.
In that range. So let me explain it this way. A lot of people don't think about this. When we have 200 inmates, we don't have 200 inmates right now, but we serve them 3 meals a day. That is our people taking a tray to breakfast, picking it up. They're handling a tray for food 6 times per person. that adds up.
Plus medical, plus everything else.
All of that. So we're paying for their medical while they're there. And so it was a communication thing. We just need to communicate. And I ask a big decision maker at one point, hey, at what point are we violating these people's civil rights? That's a concern of mine, because I go through the jail regularly, and it would shock you to hear people say, I've been here 8 months on some dinky charge that they don't have the money to pay the bail, a little bit of bail, and they're sitting in that jail for 6 or 8 months on something that should have been kicked, and they get continued. Well, my trial's been continued 7 times. I'm just going to say this. I've never heard from my defense attorney, or I've only seen him once. So yes, we can pressure, and I have pressured consistently. Let's get these people out, get them back into working society. Let's take drug court, for example. That's another way that we get people out. So real quickly, if you get arrested for a drug charge, if you qualify, they'll do several assessments. If you qualify to get into drug court, basically what you do, you read all the drug court rules. These people who are incarcerated, they sign away their right to a trial to get into drug court. When you get into drug, and you get released from jail when you go into drug court, did you know that one requirement of drug court is at a certain point, so many months in, you have to get a job? Like, this seems simple to me. Your requirement to stay out of jail is to get a job. And they do.
All right.
So we need to we've got to push on this, and it is an accordion effect. There are a lot of different players here, but I have pushed on that from day one. I hate to go up there and see people sitting there who are able-bodied people.
It hurts the community, right? If somebody gets stuck in the jail, then all of a sudden they're not showing up to work. Their families don't have to support them. There's cascade.
Yes.
I want to say thanks to the candidate series sponsors real quick. Wyland's Flowers, Incanale, and Marcy Farm and Fleet Repair. They are the reason why the audio actually sounds pretty good. You got 150 people that are watching live on Facebook. So
Thank you,
thanks
guys.
to them.
Thank you.
Support them. I want to try to be mindful of everybody's time, so I'm going to keep things moving a little bit. Still talking about jail operations, and Sheriff Sproles, we're over here with you. Obviously, we had a very high-profile inmate death this summer. I want to hear about what protocol is, or how should inmate illnesses and medical conditions be handled inside of a jail.
So we subcontract to a medical company who handles all of our medical issues. So our staff does not deal with the medical needs. Now, so this company, they take care of they have nurses on staff. We have mental health personnel on staff now 40 hours a week.
When did that start, John?
That started after I took office, because we only had them there for 8 hours a week. So I have put a very serious focus on the mental health and the health in general of our inmates.
Well, I mean, if I understand you correctly, and past administrations, the vast majority of folks who are incarcerated are there, and they have, I mean, it may not be the only reason, but many of them come in with significant mental health challenges.
They do. And let's just put it the way it is. Many of them, maybe the majority of them, come in with serious physical illnesses. The majority of our people are in jail because of drug-related items, drug-related issues. So when you come into jail, we do not, the medical company does an assessment, but I mean, we're not going to give you an MRI and all of that. So there are people. I want to give you an example. This is very important to talking about this case, and I'm going to talk more about it. But we had an officer that arrested a lady. Brought her up to the jail. You go through a full body scanner, it's like an X-ray machine, to see if you swallowed any substance. And our X-ray machine caught there's something that looks like they swallowed a bag of dope. Go down to take her to the hospital, and they kept doing scans. Finally, the doctor comes up. The officer says, "Does this individual? Do you know that if they have any pre-existing issues?" He said no. So he said, "Listen, This individual's full of cancer.
Oh, my
So they both walk in the emergency room, and the doctor says to the person, "Have you had any issues that you know of?" "No, I feel fine." And he said, "Well, I hate to tell you this, but we feel like you have cancer." Listen, 3 weeks later, that person was dead of cancer. Now, the officer called the judge and said, "Okay, just OR them because of the situation." Had that individual came to our jail, they probably would have died in our jail with cancer. So some of these things you cannot pick up on. And I'm going to, this is going to be the place I'm going to break some breaking information. Okay. I have not gotten into the online chatter. We did make a video. I put a video out regarding the Nick Gully situation, putting out the facts up front. And of course, you know, it has been a wild fiasco of social media chatter, but there has been an investigation from the highest investigating agency on the federal level. It has been completed in that case. This is breaking news. And it has been determined there was no wrong done. That's breaking news on your show. I'm breaking that. I hate it.
Which organization investigated?
I'm going to leave it at the way I
Federal.
stated.
Okay.
Yes, because that's the way they requested me to leave it.
Sheriff, when was that decided?
It was decided 2 days ago.
Okay. Just
Yeah,
curious.
2 days ago. It might have been 3, but I believe it was just 2 days ago. So I haven't, I haven't, you've heard all of the ranting and raving about it, and I hate it. A young guy is dead. I hate it for the family. I hate it for everybody involved. But again, back to, we've got to deal with facts, and while being respectful to feelings, that's the way I like to say it. The facts are no wrong done, and terrible that you have those situations. But there are 20. What is it? There's a stat out there, like 27 people die a year in county jails.
All right.
There was 3 that died, just 3 last week in Miami Correctional Facility. And so,
Jim Nicholson, inmate medical, your view on how things should operate, maybe differences in if you're sheriff versus what we've been doing.
Really, there's no difference. I mean, proper medical care given, as the sheriff, you're responsible for the care and for those in your custody. And with proper medical care, which it has tremendously improved, and a lot of it has to do with finances and the funding that the jail receives now. So, I mean, it's a lot better than it used to be. So, but, just ensuring that the inmates get proper medical care. And, I can speculate. I haven't gone in to read those reports. It's none of my business yet. But if you listen to everything on the chatter out here on social media, there's, people speculating that the young man, Nicholas, had to be, escorted to visitation by jail deputies because he couldn't walk. I mean, if that's the case, then maybe he should have gone to the hospital. I don't know. Is that accurate?
I mean, this is the public's opportunity, and you guys coming around having this conversation. This is the public's opportunity to have influence over the way jail operations are run. Right? We elect a sheriff.
Right.
The sheriff operates the jail. So if there are things we have to talk about as a community, this is where it happens, and that's why we're having the discussion today.
And and then there's certain times you can't talk about a situation due to liability. So, but a lot of the discussion between one other candidate, speculating or trying to stir the pot is, for emotion from the family.
Mhm.
I mean, we all feel bad. Okay.
It's terrible. Yeah.
But, just giving proper medical care, that is what I would do as sheriff, to ensure that those in my custody, under my control, under the county's control, because we have to, as the sheriff, protect the county, not just our department, but the entire county.
Thank you.
Let me say another important thing. It's very important.
Real quick.
Yes. So we did call the medics and have them take him to the hospital very quickly after the appearance of some decline. So, there's talk about he got lifelined out of the jail and all that. He died in the jail. No, when the medical staff determined that we need to get him to the hospital, that's exactly what we did. And I cannot do anything beyond that. When you need to go to the hospital, we've got to get you to the hospital. It's exactly what we did.
All right. Jason Williams.
From my perspective, it's been a while since I've brought somebody in off the road and booked him in the jail. But I would want our correctional staff and the deputies bringing these guys in, obviously not only do the proper book-in procedures and the questions and medical history and things like that, but I would want them to be treated if they have medical issues and medical problems, to be treated like they were family, like how I would want my family to be treated if they were in there. I think that's very important. If they need to go to the hospital, they go to the hospital. If they need to go to a doctor's appointment, we have medical staff come in there. I believe it's Quality Correctional Care is who we have now. And, they have nurses on staff and they come in and check the conditions. And if they need to go out, then I think it's important that those subjects get sent out immediately.
And they do.
Right. I mean, and the correctional staff and the officers, whether it's city, county, state, whoever, we recognize that and we take them to the hospital for medical clearance if, they present an illness or an injury. So.
All right, Craig Ring, your opportunity. You get to weigh in on this from the eyes looking from the outside, right?
Well, like these guys said, as a sheriff, if I was elected of a sheriff, I would definitely want all the medical attention they could give, quality medical attention. But on the same note, if somebody comes into the jail and doesn't specify they actually have a medical issue, we're not mind readers. I mean, you've got to rely on their information the best you can, other than observing them, to make an observation that hey, maybe they need some medical care. If they don't tell you, you don't know. You can only go by what you are told, and they can probably attest to probably most of your arrests are at night. There's no way of accessing somebody's medical records in the middle of the night. HIPAA.
All right, let's stay with you, Craig, and we're gonna in the interest of time, kind of try to move things along again. I want to talk about policing philosophy, and you're looking at the department. What do you think they do really well today, and the biggest opportunity for improvement? Running for sheriff, obviously you've got a critical eye, and you've got changes you would want to make. What are they doing well? What should we be fixing?
I'm not going to say what they're doing well, because as the public, you don't ever hear about anything that's good. You hear about what they've done that's wrong. Like I said, you can do 100 rights, but you do one wrong, and that's what everybody remembers is the one wrong. I would say public awareness, maybe a little better communication with maybe a little better research on your public before making an arrest. Before you make an arrest, I mean,
what do you mean by that exactly?
I'm trying to word this so I can word it right.
Sure.
But what I mean is, for instance, how do I want to say that? Get to know your public. I mean, you can have a guy that's 100% by the law. He defends himself one time and false accusations get him thrown in, incarcerated over something that's not true. That's what I have a problem with.
Sure. So that's a hypothetical.
That's a hypothetical.
Do you see that as a, is there
As
evidence
a
of a
problem?
that we have that in Henry County?
Is it really a hypothetical? Let me ask you that.
No, it's a hypothetical. Talking to the community, yes.
Sure.
Talking to the community, yes.
Absolutely.
On my journeys through the.
Well, of course, we all want good communication and relations between the public.
Yeah,
and
I
our,
think that's where
you haven't
that's where
experienced it.
you're, like I said, trust in law enforcement is where it all begins.
absolutely.
If you have no trust, it's no different than an employer
Sure.
or a child. If you have no trust, you have no trust. They're the last people you're calling for help.
All right. Jason Williams. Sorry, we're still sharing microphones.
Yeah, I will talk. I could talk all night about the good things that our deputies do, because as a whole, we've got good guys. We've got good people. And like I alluded to earlier, there's a lot of them. We're a young department by age and by experience, but those young guys do a good job. And so, I mean, I could go through each individual one of them. Obviously, for the sake of time, I won't, to save everybody.
We'd like to get everybody out before
Yeah,
breakfast.
I understand. So I won't do that, but I could talk extensively.
Because if you do it, John will go
about-
twice as long, and
Yeah.
it'll be
Yeah, and,
it'll be Sunday,
everybody
I'll
knows
miss the
how
whole
John
camping
is when he
trip.
gets going. So we don't want that. But seriously, on a serious note, we have good people, and we want to keep those good people. You know, we've got good equipment, we've got better pay. You know, so all those things are in line. Could we always do better? Absolutely, we can always do better, and I hope we continue the upward trend on that. But I feel like we could do a better job of allowing our supervisors to hold our guys accountable on the ground level before it goes up. You know, so I think that's one thing that we could improve on. And there could be a number of things operationally that we can do a better job of. But I'll leave it there.
All right, Jim Nicholson. It's the compliment sandwich. What are we getting right, and what do we need to work on?
What are we getting right and wrong?
Mhm.
Well, the as Jason stated, and I know John will, that really the officers, the deputies, are very well trained. They're very motivated. A lot of them have found their niche in certain aspects of law enforcement within the county, whether it's from serving warrants, working traffic, working DUIs. But just being out there, just like Craig said, in the public and community policing. And I know that's one thing that one of my little goals on the back of my little postcard. You can only fit so much, but you know, I want to reach out to the small towns and townships, and this deals with community policing, and have each town or township assigned a deputy as a liaison that can interact with by going to town council meetings, myself or a chief deputy can attend, but also having each deputy assigned to a town or township, and so they can facilitate and you know, communication with whether it's the clerk treasurer or the town council, or if that town happens to have a town marshal, and then by attending the meetings, finding out, you know, what's happening in the community.
You did mention chief deputy. Do you have a chief deputy you identified, or somebody you want to be chief deputy? if
No,
you're
I do
elected?
not right now. You know, I've been asked that. This election is about, you know, this is the primary. This is when we run to try to get elected ourselves. and I can't worry about anyone else. So, that comes with the general election. So, a lot of people will say, oh, well, the president, he chooses someone. No, he doesn't. He doesn't choose them till the general election. I mean, that's when you choose your running mate. So, and if people choose sooner, that's fine. I mean,
Okay.
That's they're right. So
Yep. I knew Jason Williams had said that it would be Brandy Pierce there, and Sheriff, I assume you're still going with Josh Smith.
Yeah, so that is a very important thing, and I could not be more happy than to have a chief deputy who's been in our sheriff's office for 28 years, one of the greatest guys you'll ever meet, and so it's been great to hear from the other guys. I mean, here's the bottom line. Bottom line is that the Henry County Sheriff's Office is in the best shape it has been in for a long time. And we take good care of our officers, our staffing. We're fully staffed. Our recruiting. We had 9 laterals. That means officers from other agencies put in our last for the Henry County Sheriff's Office. The state police had 14, I think, and they're recruiting from the whole state, and they pay big money. So the culture at the sheriff's office is great. We have focused on training. We had $0. There were $0 that had been previously budgeted for training when we took office. We used to, get declined. Like, you can't go to that training because we don't have money for it. We can't go qualify with our guns because we don't have ammo. That has happened in the past. We have never turned down any officer who wanted to go to a specialty training. I promised that from day one, and we haven't done it. So the bottom line is the sheriff's office is in a beautiful state right now, and we just want to continue that. Our officers are happy. They're being taken care of financially, physically, mentally, and spiritually, and the Lord's helped us to make some big changes, because this right here wasn't the case previous three and a half years ago.
All right, Craig Ring. Everybody got the chief deputy question, and I know we didn't get to you. Have you made a decision, or do you know who you would want as your chief deputy at this point?
No decision. I've talked to a couple guys, but I'm going to leave it right. Just like I'm kind of like Jim on the situation. I'm really worried about myself at the moment.
All right. And if you could do us a solid, it looks like Captain Williams' sign has taken a nosedive up front.
I know. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks.
Sabotage.
It's a very aggressive crew.
I saw him kicking over there.
Betsy, Mr. Bones is not here. He's my normal co-host, and he had some dental work that did not go particularly well today. So you're going to fill in for him, and he has the patented personality segment.
He sure does.
Let's get to, maybe we'll limit it to 2 questions today, and everybody get a chance at it. We'll try to be somewhat brief, but we're through the worst part of the real meat and potatoes. Now we're just getting everybody's personality. We're going to go out on a little bit of a high. So Betsy, we'll start.
Man, you're killing me, because I have
I know.
I came in with the deep dive.
I know.
All right,
you do what you want. We're going to limit it to 2 and try to get me out of here by midnight. Okay. We'll start with Craig Ring.
All right. I did not write these. Okay. All right. Craig Green. Childhood celebrity crush.
Childhood
I
celebrity.
told you I didn't write these.
Now realize that
probably have to go Madonna.
All right. That's
You said child.
now
I could have got.
she runs on Botox now.
Debbie
but
Boone in there or
1985,
something.
sure, yeah.
We're not even going to know the name of his childhood crush. That is back in
Jason Williams, who's your
It was
childhood
before
crush
the
down there?
talkies, John.
Oh, childhood crush. Probably Aaron Gray from Buck Rogers. I thought she was
Oh, I was going to say
He is older, isn't he?
Boy, I have.
Not as old as you, Jim. Not near as old
born
as
in
you.
the 1980s, and I have no idea on that one.
Oh, man.
You got to look her up, Jeremiah.
All right, I will. I will go down to the library and get the card file out.
Card file. That's the only place you'll find it.
I'm sorry, guys. All right, Jim.
I would
These are the
say-
tough, hard-hitting questions you don't get down at the library
I would
forum.
say Linda Carter.
Linda Carter.
So that's Wonder Woman, right?
Wonder Woman.
All
Yes,
right.
Wonder Woman.
All right. Good call.
Yes.
Jim, I
Yes.
just want that's my mom's name. Thanks a lot.
All right. We're at the.
She's already been brought into this election.
You know what
Once.
she told me too. Yeah.
I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
We're all right. We're at the point where we're calling each other's moms MILFs. It's out of control, guys.
Sheriff Sproles.
Sheriff.
So I hate to admit this because of time hasn't been good to this lady, but Pamela Anderson.
She looks good. No, you take that back. She's the only
not
one
wearing
not
makeup,
getting work
so-
done.
She
I don't think it's time that
don't-
did that.
she don't look as good as she did when she was on Baywatch.
No.
Well, who
that's makeup.
does? Who does? Is David Hasselhoff? I'm sorry. She looks natural. I just think she's.
Hey,
she's
and you know
pulling
what?
it off.
And I appreciate natural. So I don't that I
Of all
maybe
the
should
questions to
have.
push back on, I'm not sure why that's the one I
she's gonna-
chose.
You know
she's
what?
gonna-
This is
she's
the
gonna
hill
text
he's
me
gonna
tonight.
die
Say,
on.
why'd
I,
you
I
say
can
that about
remember
me?
her before she had stuff added.
All right.
Enhancements. Enhancements.
I can't.
Betsy,
Yeah.
give me one more round of them here.
All right.
If they're quick with them, we can go two more.
Okay.
We'll see.
This is a real question for me because this is the one I wrote that's real. All right. So Jim, you were formerly a dispatcher at Knightstown. So I'm curious about what your take is on this. But for those of you who don't know, I dispatched in Middletown. That was my college job for 6 years. Not because it took me 6 years to get a bachelor's, but I did a master's, just for the record. But so we know a couple years ago, Knightstown PD shut down their
Yes.
dispatch that was previously managed or 24/7. Middletown followed a few years later. This issue obviously near and dear to my heart. So and also I made,
Well, even the state police.
yeah.
Pendleton no longer has a dispatch. They have a regional dispatch,
That's wild. I didn't know
and
that.
that's
And then may I
that's
add,
sad.
if you're a young dispatcher, don't make the mistake of telling your youthful friends. First of all, don't give them the non-emergency line, and don't tell them when you're working because you're going to get screwed with all the time. And also, my mom, Sally Mills, she's a saint, but I swear to you, she called me at 6 a.m. and said, "I've got a broken leg," and you're like, "Wait, what? What, mom?" What? Anyway, dispatching. My real question is, the shutdown of these two dispatch centers in our county. So it's all centralized. It's all central now. Central dispatch. How do you think that has impacted public safety since then?
You start with John. Or
Go
Jim?
ahead. You go.
I don't think it's impacted at all. I mean, it would be nice to probably have another dispatcher in the control room or in the dispatch center. There were times that I dispatched, Knightstown.
Right.
We had one officer on, might have two, or we might have during the fair some reserves and regular
Nights
officers.
are quiet.
Yes,
Except
yes.
for Farmer Bob's cows getting
but
out.
then
Yeah.
I dispatched actually during my internship at the old jail
Sure.
because you dispatch for the county officers
Sure.
before we had it combined. But I think, and actually I worked at the 911 center, so
Mhm.
that was a part-time job I had up until I was deputy chief. But I don't really think it's affected it that much, and I believe that the county absorbed dispatcher from each organization,
It did, yes.
Knightstown
Yeah.
and Middletown, and I'm sure that's helped too. So,
Sure.
but no, I don't think now some of that, especially at Knightstown, Middletown. I know you had the little drive up too, but we had a drive up window
Mhm.
at the old Knightstown PD, so that was kind of nice. People would drive up, and the dispatcher could take the report. So, but no, I don't think there's any less
You don't see an
safety
impact
for the community. No.
Okay.
I think it's great because communication is everything in law enforcement, and it's just It's just easier that we're on the same channel,
Mhm.
and we're not having to switch over to
Absolutely.
Middletown or switch over to Knightstown. So I like it.
All right.
Now, I would add that, excuse me,
Yeah.
I would like to add that I miss it being at our police department.
Sure.
We used to have the 911 dispatch center at the city building. And
It's probably nice to be able to walk down the hall and talk to your dispatch.
oh, yeah,
if
it
you
was.
need
And it was
to.
nice.
Yeah.
The county officers come in.
Right.
And some of us, I probably, if I make it down to the 911 center, I always try to, if I'm down there doing something administratively, I'll try to go over in the dispatch just to put a face with a voice.
Good deal.
And it's kind of nice because we don't have that anymore.
Right.
So
Don't get to interact every day.
yes.
Jason?
Craig, you go ahead.
I'd have to agree with John on it. Being in management most of my life, the less people that's involved, the better communication there would. Less room for I guess lack of information or too much information.
Speaking with one voice. They're speaking with one voice. At that
Yes, and the less people involved, the better off the outcome. It's kind of like a rumor. Once it gets three different people, it's not even right anymore.
point. All right. Jason Williams.
I used to work at dispatch as a part-time job when I was a reserve before I got hired full-time. And then they quit that because you couldn't be working for the county and be a reserve. So I chose to go unpaid and do the smart thing and not get paid for what I was doing. So actually,
Law enforcement is full of brilliant financial decisions.
law enforcement's great. So from my perspective, I think it's actually helped. And Jim can attest to this because when I was a part-time dispatcher, we had one full-time and one part-time, and that was it. Now they have 3 full-time with the addition of Knightstown and Middletown. They usually have 3 on most of the time. Dispatchers working, and we have some really, really good dispatchers,
And they feel safe now.
Yeah.
I think by being downstairs,
Yeah.
where when they make a policeman, fireman, or paramedic mad, we can't just go
That doesn't happen.
down the hallway and run into the
That doesn't.
911 center.
That
And,
doesn't
oh
happen.
no, never happens.
Dispatch never they never get any credit. I was not a dispatcher, but that job is complex. And especially, get a crash on the interstate, you're getting 100 911 calls and they're dispatching everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you'll have somebody pipe up and want to run a 27.
What's 27? Tell everyone for our audience.
Driver's license.
Driver's
required.
license. And
I just want the
We're often-
audience
yeah.
are going to know what their
When
tank
who would
codes.
do
Yeah.
that? Like they're working a head-on collision and you're wanting to run a driver's license.
This
Like,
is what's important to me
All right.
right now.
Well, it might be a time
Before I get to Bones' last question, I want to. Those were all really good answers, but I want to push back on you a little bit.
uh-oh.
When I worked thirds in dispatch over in Middletown,
You
and I was
slept.
the only person there, my officer might be out and about, running traffic or wherever he might
Yeah.
be, not obviously doing his job. But there was more than once I would have, we're locked at, we're locked away from the public, thank God, in the middle of the night. But more than once I had a woman come in from a domestic who needed help.
Mm.
She had nowhere to go.
Mm.
It's Middletown. It's what,
Mhm.
4 a.m. I let her in,
Mhm.
get her help. I don't know where she would have gone. And that happened a couple different times. Fiscally, does the return on investment with regards to centralizing our dispatches equal that effort? Probably not.
I can't speak
But-
to the finances on it.
But that is one angle I see that there's that. It's a little thing, but
Yeah.
it counts in
No,
my
it's
mind.
I see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see it.
Sure.
Make sure you can get the microphone.
Yeah,
But you do have new technology now, though, where you could text 911, right? Like if you were in a situation
Yes.
where you need to quickly, quite discreetly get information,
yeah,
Correct.
you'd have that ability to text it now.
And really, with the technology we have now, man or woman out there that's being abused,
sure.
if they're in danger, they can actually, besides texting, but if they have a non working as long as it powers up a cell phone and they dial 911, they can still reach the 911 center.
Yeah.
And if that means they have to lay the phone down or hide it, but leave it so it's an open line, and then that way the dispatch center can
That will trigger.
trigger and they can ping the phone. So,
Sure.
and we get sent on that. I mean, we get sent on 911 calls, either hang-ups or open lines. We get sent on that probably at a minimum, probably 10 times a
Yeah,
day.
some
And
of them
most of
are-
the time it's nothing,
Right.
but
well, but
sometimes
sometimes
it
it's serious.
Yeah, sometimes, right.
Biggest pet peeve about phones now: the iPhone crash detection.
Yes.
Oh,
How many iPhone? And they put it out as an unknown accident. And,
Interesting.
yeah, people drop their phone or they threw their girlfriend's phone out on the interstate. We can usually find it. They can ping it right
Yeah.
to there. Well, we can hear you. Okay, well, we found the phone.
Anyway, I thank you. That was just something I was personally curious.
yeah.
And anyway, I agree with your responses, but I do see that drawback,
Mhm.
and that's just
Yeah.
my own experience. All right, I'm gonna ask you a dumb question from Bones.
These are the best
Gosh,
Bones
where do
questions
I
when
go?
Bones gets to make up the questions
all right,
and
guys.
not be
All
here
right,
for
all
them.
right. I think this might be fun. They're making a movie about you. Who would you like to have play yourself? I wanted to be serious. This is a Bones question. Craig? Who's starring Craig in Hollywood?
And remember, once you take the person, they're off the board. John can't take your
Oh,
answer.
That's good.
Who's gonna play me?
Better take Kevin Costner and run it.
I don't know about Kevin Costner, but I'd probably take Denzel Washington.
All right. All right. Can't go wrong with Denzel. All right.
He made a hell of a football coach. Jason Williams.
Go ahead.
No.
I'm gonna go Bradley Cooper.
Good.
Yeah, I'll go Bradley Cooper.
All right, it's a solid draft pick.
And
The NFL draft is on in the background. so
And let me add,
the Colts have not
number one
drafted yet.
pick, Fernando Mendoza.
You got a Hoosier.
Indiana, baby.
Yeah.
All right, Jim.
Jim Nicholson. Who's when you get a movie made about you? And you're
John Cena.
John Cena.
Okay. All right.
I think John Cena got picked by one of the Rush County guys when they did this. I think they got the
Cena.
same questions.
I didn't watch that.
Yeah. They did. Sheriff
You know,
Sproles.
he's retired from wrestling now, so
He could run for sheriff in 4 years if he
All
moves
right.
here.
He may.
he could be walking tall.
He'd win the bicentennial.
I have no idea who I would want to play me. I don't. So, like, I don't want. I don't
Now
really
wait,
watch
you gave me,
movies.
don't
so
pretend like you don't know who people are because you just gave me Pamela Anderson last
But
time.
that was from my childhood. Okay, I haven't watched 5 movies in the last 20 years of my life, so I don't know who's. So I don't know. I just would hopefully
Anybody
be
out
a
there?
good
Let's
looking-
say TV.
Hopefully they're
or-
good looking. So I don't know. I
All right.
sorry.
He
I just don't have
dodges that one. I'm going to remember that in the voter
All
booth.
right. Anything else I should throw?
No,
or are we done with
you did
time?
great. We
All
can
right.
we can move into final thoughts.
All
We'll
right.
work our way around the room. Jim Nicholson, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
If folks want more information on your campaign, they want to volunteer, want to donate, how do they find out more about you? And is there anything we left out you wanted to get to tonight?
No, just they can reach me at 765-524-4057 is my campaign phone, or my personal email, Jim157 Nicholson @gmail.com. And then on Facebook, either my Facebook page, Jim Nicholson, or vote Jim Nicholson, or excuse me, no, Jim Nicholson for sheriff, Henry County Sheriff.
Very good. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Sheriff Sproles.
Yes, you can reach me at John Sproles, Henry County Sheriff on Facebook, and you can reach me at. I'm going to give your real cell phone number.
That's fine. That's fine.
No, you know how to reach me. Dial 911 and say I need to talk to the sheriff. So
How does that work really well? 911. I'm going to talk to the sheriff.
Hey,
Intercom number.
I have taken a lot of calls where people demanding to talk to the sheriff, and I've listened to a lot of interesting things. And no, I usually will. I'll take those calls, or I'll come out and see you. But message me on Facebook if you want to sign, and at the polls, reelect Sproles. I would be honored.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Producer Zach, you've been over there real quiet tonight.
Yeah.
You've been monitoring the chats.
It's been busy.
Anything you wanted to ask about or weigh in on?
No,
You good?
No, not really. I'm too tired, it's been a long day already.
You've done a phenomenal job. This has sounded very good in our ears, and you've done a great job.
Yeah.
So thank you for your service.
There's been a lot going on. I got screens going on over here, and I've used my administrative power.
Been
again,
muting some people.
I haven't muted anybody. I made
So
some
is he the
comments
boss?
disappear, and I've gotten messages from people saying, "What'd you do that for?" And I told them why. Don't care.
There's been a few unchristian.
This is my feed. I can.
We're
Well,
gonna,
let's be honest.
double your pay
Let's
for
be honest.
tonight.
There's tort claims getting thrown all around by some people, so I just don't want to be the targeted one. So if I feel like deleting some people, I'm
Hey,
going to
don't
delete
worry,
some comments.
Don't worry, they'll blame it on me. So.
Yeah.
All right, Craig Ring, thanks for being here. If folks want more information on your campaign, want to learn about you, how do they reach out? Doing door knocking, yard signs, all that stuff.
Well, Jeremiah, thanks for the invite. You can reach me on my Facebook account, of course, Craig Ring. Just look up Craig Ring. I'm sure it'll pop up. I also have one that's not very active. It's Craig Ring for Henry County Sheriff. You can look it up and reach me on it. My personal email is ringcraiga1970@gmail.com. Not getting my phone number though, because I can only imagine.
We can find it.
Yeah.
We can post it.
You didn't.
We're going to all post it.
Jason Williams, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. Jason Williams for Sheriff at gmail.com, email address. Jason Williams personal page on Facebook, Jason Williams for Henry County Sheriff Facebook page. You need a yard sign, let me know. Just send me a message and I'll get you one. Yeah, thanks for having us. I appreciate it.
Very good. And Betsy Mills.
Really, Jeremiah,
Yep, go
real
ahead.
quick. On May 5th, just get out and vote.
Yes.
If you haven't early voted or absentee voted, get out and make your voice heard May 5th, Tuesday, May 5th, between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And we'll be at Republican headquarters awaiting the results.
All right.
There you go. Betsy Mills.
First of all, who am I going to see tomorrow night at our Republican Lincoln Day dinner? Are you coming? Good.
You got
Yeah,
a
Betsy,
crew.
you-
I've been waiting for an email back, but I
If
haven't
you-
got it yet.
If
Well,
you don't want to spend, I've got room at my table, so I'll take
Can I have?
$100.
That's a nice
It-
offer.
Hey, I've got room too. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
We had to get a table for 8.
Yeah,
There's
I want
only
to
5
add.
of
I
us.
want to add that
Yeah.
all this
Yeah, it's 8.
campaign come out of my pocket, nobody else.
And
So everybody knows
Right.
that. But yeah, I called. I think I left a message to Lisa Lovelace.
Yes.
Yes.
She never did.
Come on
contact
up.
me.
well,
There's-
Lisa's
they'll be
great.
ready.
I would try again.
So how
Giving
about
her-
I just show up?
I can
Would
tell
that
you,
be all
Lisa's
right?
gone to a training.
Well,
all
That's
week.
probably why I haven't.
Yeah, just show up.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
plenty of room. Like I said, I'm going to have some seats. I didn't know. I thought it was 5, but we're paying for 8.
Now we're paying for 8, and I asked about the other.
Well, I might-
So the
I
other
might
3
make out
people, are they
pretty good on
paying?
this
Are they
deal.
paying $40 each also? And she said, "Well, no." And I'm like, "So we'll just let people sit with you for free." And I said,
Do
"Well,
you have extra tickets for the cocktails before?
no,
I
I do
don't-
not. I'm not going for the cocktails.
On
so-
your own there, huh?
on your own, yeah."
And I think the last 2 minutes is indicative of this conversation in which you all have been very generous with each other. And it's been good camaraderie. And I want to thank you for that. I wish we had all 5. No
I mean,
comment.
We're all for
But
the people.
The 4 who are
We're
here,
for-
I appreciate you
Yeah.
and your good
Right.
attitudes. I want to my whatever final thought. I'll see you tomorrow night at Lincoln Day. Indiana Fever. I'm a season ticket holder.
Yeah.
We have our first game on Saturday, the 25th.
Caitlin
Have
Clark
any
back.
extra tickets?
Caitlin Clark's back. Do I have
Do
tickets?
you have any extra tickets? I mean,
I have tickets I put up for sale.
Him a ticket.
Yeah.
Can we get a fever ticket?
Well, isn't that a kind thought?
What's it take to go to a game with
You know
Betsy?
what? Whoever wins sheriff, I'll take you to a game. How about that?
Okay.
Hey,
Be my guest.
that's
but
actually a
I'm
big
just
game of our
goal for
choice.
us.
Yeah, there we go.
Does that apply to the Democrat candidates?
No.
Just
Chair-
wanted to check.
Chair, I'm a proud Team GOP, baby.
So you'll take the Republican nominee.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I'm just listen. I've sat with attorneys
That's
all
a
of last
good
week. I
point.
wanted to get this nailed down.
Hypothetically, we could have a Democrat sheriff, and I'm sure we get along just fine. But I expect it may be one of you. But I appreciate all of you, and yeah. Oh, Lisa Lovelace. We mentioned Lisa Lovelace, our lovely vice chair of our Republican Party, good friend, and she said, "For you, John." Let me get the text.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Let me pull it up.
I feel like this has turned into a
No, it's
Republican
good. It's a
meeting.
good one. I promise. I
Okay.
promise it will not. I promise it will not bum you out.
As a non-Republican, I'm feeling very out of place in my own podcast.
She said,
Libertarian.
"Sheriff should be Dwayne the Rock Johnson."
Oh, hey.
Can you roll
tell
with
her
that?
I can roll with that. Yes.
All right, Lisa,
Tell her
if
thank
you're
you.
listening.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
All right, that's perfect.
Yes, and I'll
All
buy
right.
an extra table
All
now,
right.
I guess. at the Lincoln
Lisa,
Center.
How about
Lisa
you give
is
her a
our-
hug and a high five tomorrow night?
Okay.
She's working hard.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Lisa is our scheduled guest for Monday when we return.
Yep.
Wrapping up the candidates series. We invited all the candidates for county treasurer, and Lisa has accepted. And once we spend 5 minutes talking about treasurer, I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about. We're going to have a good show, though.
But, don't we have John coming on too?
I think you do.
Yeah,
You've
John
got
Madison.
it. You've got
John
it worked
Madison?
out. She's got the county chairman coming
Yeah.
as well. Wyland's Flowers, thank you so very much. Ink and Ale and Muncie Farm and Fleet Repair. You guys are why the reach has been so far so good this cycle. So go buy somebody some flowers.
Go get your truck service.
your truck
Get
serviced and
reservations
have
for
dinner.
Mother's Day and order the flowers for
Absolutely.
Mother's Day
There you go.
now.
There it is.
So that they're
Get
not
your wife's
last
oil
minute.
changed. Damn it.
Yeah, don't mess that up,
if-
guys.
if-
Come on.
If your wife drives like a 3/4 ton.
My wife can operate a diesel. Check local listings for the rest of you. Thank you all so very much. Running for office, I've done it 3 times myself, and I was the campaign manager for a governor's race in this state.
It's
And
tough.
it's because you guys are willing to put yourself forward. We have something to talk about, and it's very important for the civic process. As much as folks may or may not like Sheriff Sproles, if he didn't have you guys running here today, we wouldn't have a conversation, and it would be an automatic. So thank you all for running and being a part of the process and showing
Absolutely.
up and having the public conversations.
Mhm.
Hoping to have whichever one of you wins come back in the fall and to meet the Democrat candidate. And if we get an independent or libertarian, they'll be here too. So thank you all very much. Voters, just like last week's prosecutor race, have a very difficult decision to make.
Yes.
I hope they spend a lot of time and effort thinking about it and weighing their options. And we're all going to find out on Tuesday, May 5th, how this shakes out. So thank you for being here. Thank you to the audience for participating and hanging with us. I know it was a little longer than normal. We all want a pee break, so we're going to say goodbye and we'll be back on Monday. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks everybody.